Morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're watching. It's still morning for Beth. I am excited to have Beth here today. She is going to be one of our speakers at our 2024 He Makes All Things New Women's Retreat, and we are so excited to have her back again. I know many people have been commenting on the post that I put up earlier today that you're coming back, and we're very excited to see that you are going to be here again. So will you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell where you're from?
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. My name is Beth Broom. I live in the Dallas area in Texas. And so it is still morning here, just barely. And I am actually in private counseling practice. I specialize in trauma healing. And so I do a lot of work with people who've come out of domestic violence, people who grew up in abusive homes, that sort of thing. Do a lot of work in that way as a counselor, and I really, really enjoy that. I'm licensed in the state of Texas and in the state of Virginia, and so those are the states within which I can do counseling. I also am the executive director of Christian Trauma Healing Network, which is a nonprofit organization that serves helpers. So advocates from Call to Peace have gone through a lot of our training, other counselors, biblical counselors, lay counselors, folks who are seeking to learn good, solid, Christ-centered trauma care for people who are hurting. So it's not an organization for people who are struggling themselves, but for people who want to help others. So that is an organization that I oversee. And it's a really fun thing that we get to do to serve the community. And then I'm also a deacon of care at my church and help out with a lot of things there. I was on staff for many years, but now I'm operating as a volunteer in that capacity to care for those who are suffering in our church family. So that's the gist of what I'm doing. And for those of you that are watching, I told Lauren beforehand, we're actually in the middle of a demo project in this building that I'm in right now, which happens to be my home and my office. So you're probably going to hear some noise, and I'm so sorry for that background noise, but it's a project we've been waiting to do for many weeks, and they're just now here. So we didn't want to make them leave.
No, I totally understand. I've been there before too. So we're so glad that you're here, and I appreciate your heart for Jesus. I just feel like you really communicate to the suffering God's heart for them and help them understand his heart and how to cling to them through their suffering. And I think that was a highlight of what you shared at our 23 retreat. And so I'm excited that you're coming back to the 24 retreat. And this time you'll be speaking on how to transform your mind to understand your identity as God's beloved. And I'm really excited because I'm like, oh, this is going to be really, really good. I'm looking forward to hearing your insights. And so today I want to give our listeners a little bit of a taste of what they will be experiencing from your session, because you will be one of the breakout sessions that they get to choose from. So today you'll get to hear what she's going to talk about. And I hope you walk away from this conversation just feeling encouraged and feeling that God sees you and that you are his beloved and that you can walk through that process to understand and live out confidently in that identity that he calls you. So let's get started. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So how must our minds be transformed so we can live in our identity as God's beloved?
That's a big question. I was just thinking about how it's going to be difficult for me to answer the question, but rather than answer it, I want to just sort of give a framework, if possible,
Yes.
for how to think about this. And I want to just begin with thinking about Romans 12, 1 and 2. So that passage of scripture, is it okay if I just read it, Lauren? That maybe will help give us a frame of reference. And Paul says, I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. And I love that Paul talks about this, and then he actually goes on in that chapter to talk about the importance of the gifts of grace of God in our lives. It's a great passage, but he doesn't give us a formula. He doesn't say, be transformed, and here's exactly how you do that. Step 1, step 2, step 3. But I do want to just recognize that the Bible, even though it doesn't give us formulas, it's giving us understanding of what it means to be transformed and what it means to not be conformed to the image of this world, right? So that's kind of what I want to unpack a little bit. And I thought I might do this by way of example, because I think a visual picture might be a bit more helpful for us.
Yeah.
So I chose an example of, let's say you struggle with self-doubt.
Mhm.
I'm going to choose one that's real common, especially for survivors of domestic violence. So self-doubt is super common, and it's something that we often come out of a destructive relationship with a whole bunch of questions. Am I making the right decisions? Am I crazy? Do I think clearly? Do I not? Do I know God's will? Do I not know? So self-doubt, doubt in your ability to make decisions, think clearly, and just function and follow the will of the Lord in your life. And so if you struggle with self-doubt, for example, you can take specific things that you're thinking and emoting or feeling and pull those things apart to try to understand what's happening, what's at the bottom of these thoughts that I'm having. Okay. So, for example, if I am trying to decide whether I want to go back to school after leaving a destructive relationship, I think I want to go back to school. I want to get an education. I think I want to try to see if I can try something new in life. But then as soon as I start seeking to make that decision, my mind begins to say, well, I'm really not sure if you're smart enough to do that. I really don't think you're going to be able to do it financially. I really think that the people in your life will make fun of you. They're not going to support you. They're going to think you're crazy for trying to do something so big. You were stuck in this relationship for years and couldn't make good decisions. What makes you think you could do that now? To decide on something new that you want to do and be creative and move forward. You don't have the energy for this. So there's a lot of thoughts that can start to flood our minds, right? And that actually indicates self-doubt. So I'm doubting myself. But what's even underneath that self-doubt? There's a lot of emotion. There's confusion, there's sadness, there's maybe anger, fear, obviously, like the fear of the unknown. But at the bottom of that self-doubt is a belief of some sort. There's something that I believe about myself. And if I explore the thoughts and the emotions, I can start to get towards what that belief is. And that's actually really important because think of it like a root. Like if you're pulling weeds in your yard, you actually need to pull up the whole weed all the way down to the root. Otherwise, the weed is just going to grow back. So we're looking for the roots. And you may have a...
Oh, Beth, we lost you. Come back. One moment, guys. She'll be right back, I'm sure. Well, if you're listening, waiting for Beth to come back, you can check out the links above to learn more about our retreat, as well as apply for scholarships. We still have scholarships available. We have not given them out yet. Let me text Beth too as well and see what happened here. See if I can put her on and put her off. Nope, we are stuck. But anyway, you can check out the links for scholarships. We still have not given out scholarships yet, but we are giving first priority to those who are new to the retreat. So once we go through that list and we have given them out and we still have ones left, those who've applied in that order will be awarded a scholarship next. So please go ahead and apply if you've not. We still have scholarships that have not been given out. And I have completely lost Beth. So I am very sorry. I am not able to speak on this subject. Let me see where Beth is. How are y'all doing today? I might have to come back and see. I don't think she's coming back. So I am very sorry, but we will bring this conversation back to you here as soon as I can get connected with Beth. I hope all of y'all were enjoying that. I was very invested. I am ready to hear more about plucking it out via the root. So hopefully she comes back here very shortly. All right. I'm going to have to end this and we will be back here shortly. So sorry, everybody.